Okay, this video is about theory in instructional design. We're going to talk about what is theory, what's a learning theory, an instructional or instructional design theory, and then the difference between that and instructional design process models. This is important because when you design for any type of learning, we want to be able to draw upon the ideas that other people have already figured out or developed, because that's going to help us be the most successful. So this is just to help you try to think about how theory fits in with instructional design. So basically, a theory is an idea that is intended to explain something. It's pretty straightforward. A theory is underspecified, it allows predictions, and it can't be proven, only disproven. Let me break this down. So first, the underspecified part. So if we take Dalton, who created the atomic theory, and said the smallest substances of life are the atoms, that's the smallest element. And if they were to draw something like this, they know that this does not match actual reality. It's a simplified version to highlight a concept. Just like you might create a picture of the solar system, right? Which is actually a model. But the solar system, you know that your model doesn't look just like the actual solar system, but you choose to focus on certain elements to illustrate a point. So that's what it means by underspecified. It allows predictions because if everything is made up of atoms, that means I can take any substance and I can break it down into different atomic elements. The theory helps me predict that. And then the final thing is that theories can't be proven, they can only be disproven. Because if we prove a theory, then it's no longer a theory. But we can disprove. So, for example, with Dalton, who believed that atoms were the smallest life form, he was wrong. We got electrons and protons and neutrons. We disproved this theory. That doesn't mean there isn't still valuable pieces of that theory that we still use. But that's what it means to disprove a theory. And I hope I'm using this science right because I am not a science person. So hopefully that all makes sense. Theory and reality are only theoretically related. That's just to say that reality doesn't look just like a theory, but theories provide some types of guidance that can help us in reality to understand something or create something. So in instructional design, there's different types of theories, and these get mixed up a lot. And I'm not so concerned about you being able to label what type of theory is what, as much as being able to use theories appropriately. So we have learning theories, and then we have instructional theory and instructional design theory. These get used interchangeably a lot. And then we have instructional design process models. So let me show you each of these. A learning theory is something that describes how we learn. So whenever we talk about behaviorism, and cognitivism, and constructivism, and connectivism, or social learning theories, those are things that describe how we learn. For example, cognitivism models how we obtain information and how we store it. Or behaviorism models how we get a stimulus response process going, that we learn in that way. So that's describing how we learn. An instructional theory, which is also an instructional design theory, it's telling us how to teach or instruct or how to support learning, because it comes into some type of format like this. If we have some type of condition, then if we do some type of thing, we're going to get some type of result. It's more prescriptive than just a general learning theory, because it says if this is the situation you're in, you do these things and you're going to get this type of result. So here's some examples. We have Gagnet's 9 events of instruction, Merrill's first principles, 4CID, elaboration theory, problem-based learning. There's a whole bunch of other ones. Let's just talk about a few of them. Gagnet's 9 events of instruction. The best way to learn these is to watch this YouTube video. So I'm going to let you watch it. Okay, that's the best explanation of Gagnet I've ever seen. Next is Merrill's first principles of instruction. And you'll see that these overlap with Gagnet a lot, but it's a lot simpler. Merrill usually talked about you have a problem that anchors your instruction, and then you have these elements: activation, demonstration, application, integration. So here are his principles. Learning is promoted, so we can promote learning when learners are engaged in problem-centered strategy with real-world tasks. This is kind of like what we're doing with our project for this class. We have a real problem with real-world tasks that we're focusing our work on. We activate a mental model of prior knowledge. We observe a demonstration. We engage in application. We share, reflect, and defend our work. These are the things that support learning, according to Merrill's theory. So if I incorporate these types of things in an instructional context, I can promote learning. Another one is 4CID, and I'm not going to go into this in detail, but this is about just some really complex tasks that some people might need to do. And so it talks about having certain supportive information available, which might be like, they call them job aids, lists of things that you might have with you to help you work through something, and some different information you have. And then learning tasks in a whole part way and practicing. So you might see the whole task and then part of a task. So like when I learned vibrato on violin, I learned the main idea of vibrato for the whole task, but I also learned some finger flexibility for a part task. And I did whole and I did part and gradually put them together. So that's what 4CID does, is it's about trying to develop some complex skill through whole and part task and supportive information. All right, then there's things like problem-based learning that's more general, not as specific as these. Studio instruction, some of you in my class last summer, we did studios. There's a whole bunch of different types of instructional theories that help us know how to design for learning. Finally, instructional design process models. We've actually already talked about these. These are models that talk about how the instructional design process works. So this is like Addy. Do you remember Addy? Pebble in the Pond. I can't remember the other ones we talked about. But they're actually talking about what the instructional design process is. So it's creating instruction, not about like how we actually promote learning. All right? So main takeaways today. Theories help us understand how people learn and how to support learning. Learning theories are focused on how people learn. Instructional theories give us information about what we can do to support learning. Understanding these theories can help us create more effective designs because it's drawing on information that other people have already explored and talked about and found to predict success. Thanks for watching.